Your theology is weak when it comes up against the truth. Giving all praise to Yahweh Shemel, Shai Bashem, Rakakodash, Shalom to the hopefully elect out there, excuse me. Anyway, I'm going to say a few words. This is fair use, because they're discussing the whole One West is in the title. Mike Winger, and he's going to wing it in about a minute, learns unbiblical One West eschatology. Eschatology means the end of all things. When you think of eschatology, you think of ology, meaning the study of end time prophecies. So let's look it up real quick. Like I said, before I play this, this is fair use. Okay, let me do this. I gotta find let me go right here. Eschatology. Meaning the part of theology, meaning theo, meaning God, ology, meaning the study of God. Theology, the study of God. Concerned with death, judgment, and the final destination of the soul and of humankind, meaning the end of all things. Loosely translated, it means the end of all things. So if any Christian uses that term, what are eschatological beliefs? Forgive me. They believe that just as Jesus was, I'm reading it verbatim, was resurrected with a body that had the marks from his life on it was also different. It could appear out of nowhere. They too will be given a new resurrected body, suits able for heaven. Excuse me, mumbling a little bit. What is the opposite of eschatology? The corresponding opposite general term for the beginning or origins of anything would be Genesis. Therefore, the opposite of eschatology in a general sense would be Genesis studies or the study of Genesis. The general definition being the study of beginnings. So eschatology means the study of endings, the end time prophecies. This guy, William Bell, he teaches a form of eschatology. Basically, he's saying that everything is fulfilled in the scriptures. The book of Revelation, the book of Matthews, everything is fulfilled. So in essence, we're in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, that's a joke. So let's go. And I think he put a year on it. I believe he said 70 AD. I hadn't seen any of his videos in a while. So anyway, let's go back over here. And like I said, they're speaking about the One West doctrine. So I have a right to analyze it and criticize it or give an opposing view. Okay, so we're covering our asses with these demons. Anyway, let's listen. You can listen to the whole thing. It's only not even 10 minutes long. I'm right here at the 57 second, almost a minute in, but listen to the whole thing. So let's listen up. Let's listen up. Let's listen up.
And who's not, and who's the oppressor? Let's just reverse roles. Whereas the gospel goes out and says, no, let's end this. Let's just end the idea of these oppressions and these separations. There is no Jew, there is no Gentile, there's no slave, no free. In Christ, we're all one, right? We're all part of the same brotherhood. This is where Paul rips on Peter publicly because he won't eat with the Gentiles. Yet you're talking there's groups here where they won't, and they still won't do that, which is why I figure they have to do something with Paul. But yeah, the unity there isn't.
You heard that he said Paul refuses to eat with the Gentiles, meaning I'm not going to eat with those dirty Gentiles. Well, wait a minute. The apostle Paul was the apostle that was given the task of dealing with the Gentiles. He said, I am an apostle of the Gentiles. Therefore I magnify my office. So what in the hell is he talking about? And he's speaking about Galatians 2, and we're going to go into it. Paul didn't refuse to eat with the Gentiles. He's speaking out the side of the ass. Oh, and they said we are Israel. This clown, he says we're Israelites because we're emotional, like we needed something to hang on to, like a drug. That's our new drug, the Bible. But we are the Israelites. And this guy still can't explain. If you ask him, there are more dark skinned. Let's exclude us, the real Israelites, 12 tribes. Let's deal with the other people on this planet that call themselves Jews, descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Ethiopians. Not all of them, but the Falasha, as they call them, the Falasha, the Sephardic Jews, which are dark. The Ethiopians are dark, look like us. Most of them have woolly hair. The Sephardic Jews look like a lot of the Spanish tribes. They look Dominicans, like Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, whatever. Who else? The Nigerians. The Nigerians, there's a big community of a group of Nigerian people that claim that they are the descendants of the Israelites. The Israelis, when the European small hats came to Israel before 48, they were there before 48. They were going back and forth to Europe, but they made it official. They called the official state of Israel in 1948. But they've been there before. They were set up before there. Certain pilgrimages over there. Anyway, you have the Israelis, which were already over there, that walk around the European small hats and claim that they're Israelites too, and they accept them, which most of them are probably Palestinians. There's a great mixture. Arabs mean mixture, all right? So let's listen again.
Who's not, and who's the oppressor? Let's just reverse roles. Whereas the gospel goes out and says, no, let's solution. So the wrong solution is let's just flip who's being oppressed.
Anyway, you're going to begin to kick out. And a lot of them come out on the other side saying, not only are we.
You know what? I'm going to go to the beginning. Let me go to the beginning. So the reason why this guy, Vocab, he finally came up with why we call ourselves Israelites, because we have an emotional attachment to the people of the book. We cling on to Christianity, we cling on to Islam, and then we're going to the next thing. This is the new thing, you know. We got tired of the hula hoop. We're going on to the next thing. Oh, let's be Israelites now. That sounds like a good idea. This, like I said, this is why you guys are losing. So you're losing terribly. That's why people are losing. You should be concerned about the Edomites that are leaving Christianity. If you type in the YouTube search engine, if you type in why I left Christianity, I'll be here all day. And I'm gonna prove that too, Lord willing. I'll prove that.
Emotional and satisfying a deep emotional longing more than anything.
We have a deep emotional longing. Well, wait a minute. If you have a woman that leaves you, a man goes to jail, and the woman's there, he does 5 years, and she still loves that man while he's in jail. She's visiting the man. She has a deep emotional longing for that man. So guess what? So in a way, and you're right. We have a deep emotional longing for being Israelites. Why? Because we have a spiritual connection and an emotional connection, which is emotions stem from the spirit. How you feel on the inside.
And that's the real power of it, because it gives, especially somebody whose dignity has been denied and the fact of the reality of them bearing.
We went into slavery. The cops keep shooting us in the back. We get our ass kicked. We live in the slums. We need something to, we need a pacifier. We need something to make us feel good. We need a new drug. Let's try being an Israelite and let's make up the 12 tribe sign. Real joke. But he still has to explain why there's more dark, excluding us, why are there more dark-skinned people that relate to being Israelites than the Europeans?
The image of God has been denied in so many ways. When we talk about, say, in American context, for example, historically, this flips that over and turns it around and makes it where, hey, actually, we're the people of the book who this book is about. And a lot of them come out on the other side saying, not only are we better than the other nations, you other nations can't even be saved anyway. You're going to be in the kingdom only to serve us.
And why do we say these things? Because it's all throughout the scripture. First scripture that pops in my head is Isaiah 14:1 and 2. They'll say, well, that's talking about after the Babylonian. No, because we went into captivity under the Medo-Persian Empire. So what in the hell are you talking about? There's so many scriptures that cuts what the hell he just said.
Yeah, so let's talk about that eschatology a little bit, where this goes with eschatology. So, but first, let me mention this: that I think the gospel offers the right solution. So the wrong solution is let's just flip who's being oppressed and who's not, and who's the oppressor. Let's just reverse roles. Whereas the gospel goes out and says,
and the oppressor will be, the oppressed will be flipped, and we will become the oppressor, and you will become the oppressed. Isaiah 60, Isaiah 61, Isaiah 14:1 and 2, and 3, Revelation 13:9 and 10, Revelation 2:25 and 26, Psalms 2, verse 8 on down. You can read the whole book of Psalms. And there's so many scriptures that speak about the Most High dealing with the sons of Israel, and we're going to be lifted up.
no, let's end this. Let's just end the idea of these oppressions and these separations. There is no Jew, there is no Gentile, there's no slave, no free. In Christ, we're all one, right? We're all part of the same brotherhood.
No, my dear boy, no. The Gentiles, we're all one, meaning the Gentiles, as you call them, the Gentiles in the New Testament. The Gentiles are Israelites whose foreparents suffered the oppression from Antiochus Epiphanes during the time of the Maccabees, and forced them to give up the laws, statutes, and commandments. Don't keep the Sabbath. They have to eat pork. They had to show that they believe in the Greek way and denounce their laws and statutes by eating pork. You got to eat pork. And by the way, this is what Bishop Nathaniel did back at the house of David. After they kicked us out, they told people we're not to be under the laws. He went from one extreme to the other extreme. He's saying push the laws. But at one time he's saying, no, we don't deal with the laws. And you got to prove that you're not dealing with the laws by eating pork in front of us. And this is what Bishop Nathaniel told me. Now, anybody in the IUIC, you call me a liar. You call me a liar. Then go ask Bishop Nate, did he say that to me? And he'll probably lie. This is what this man told me. Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua is my witness on the phone. After that, those reservoir dogs, which was the rest of the house of David, they all broke up. All of the people that Bishop Nate was working with, Yahasha, Rahab, they none of them teach this word no more. All them people went back into the world. Now, some of them, mind you, still identify with being Israelites, and they'll keep the Sabbath and they'll keep the laws, but they're not out there on the highways and the byways, so they're not teachers. What is Isaiah? What is that? Isaiah 30 and 20 saying on down? It said, "You will see your teachers. You should hear a voice behind you," and that's when we. That's why this guy, vocab, always talking about the one West. He's not talking about Israelites in general. He's talking about the one Westers because of our theology. And this is what hurts them, the fact that they can partake in the kingdom, receive blessings in the kingdom. But not only that, they're going to get their asses kicked and they're going into slavery. So you guys are losing.
This is where Paul like rips on Peter publicly because he won't eat with the Gentiles. Yet you're talking there's groups here where they won't.
Oh, okay. No, he said this is why Paul ripped Peter for I believe he said, I got the understanding wrong. I believe he said for not eating with the Gentiles. What the not the Apostle Paul, but Peter, he ate with the Gentiles, and when the Jews came around, he separated himself from them, and Paul got on him for being a hypocrite. He said, "You hanging out with the Gentiles and eat with the Gentiles, and then when the Jews come around, you act like you don't know them." And those Gentiles were Israelites that go back during the time of the Maccabees and Antiochus Epiphanes. They were not allowed to circumcise their sons. They were to eat pork. They were to wear they were to dress in the Greekish fashions. That's all that means. That's all it means. So they're coming back into the fold, just like all of us. You can say all of us, or mostly all of us, 99% of us, because I knew as a child, I was told that I was an Israelite. Okay, so I knew about this thing all my life, pretty much. I knew about the scriptures. All my family was a biblical based family that really studied the scriptures. They weren't like regular church going people. They were people that studied the scriptures, and they also taught that the Sabbath is a Friday sundown, Saturday sundown, which is going off too. And in the household, we didn't eat pork. All right. So I knew about this when I was a kid. So let's listen to some more.
They still won't do that, which is why I figure they have to do something with Paul. But yeah, the unity there is in the gospel of Christ, that we're all made in the image of God. We're all redeemed through Christ and we're grafted in.
The Messiah only came for the Israelites. Acts 5:29 to 31. Matthew's 1:21. This is Matthew's 1:21. Yeah. Matthew's 10, 5 and 6. You can read the whole book of Matthew. Matthew's the 10th chapter. Go not into the way of the Gentiles. So how do you explain that?
Okay, so there's our unity, but we're all one. We're not still segmented in these.
Pushing that bullshit oneness. You're not going to be a part of the one. You're going to be the one on your knees, scrubbing floors, licking our boots, chopping down trees, doing what we tell you to do, getting your ass kicked.
Groups, but there is an eschatology that I've cut glimpses of with the Israelite movement. Can you tell us kind of some of the expectations they have? Are there any expectations that are fairly unified across the groups?
Almost all of them that I've heard have some type of ethnic stratification in the kingdom. So they usually don't talk about heaven or something like that. They tend to use just the phrase the kingdom. And almost all of them believe in some kind of ethnic stratification. And so there's levels of that. There's ones that have an extreme hierarchy, and there's some that sort of have a softer, kinder, gentler hierarchy. So I'll give you an example of a kinder hierarchy. There's a rather smart Hebrew Israelite who makes really good hip hop music, actually, and it's pretty powerful. Some of it sounds really Christian, to be frank with you. And I like him because he's from Buffalo. That's where my family came through when they went to New York. But nonetheless, he's confused in a lot of his theology. He says, well, that final relationship between the Israelites, if he was saying he's one of them, and the Gentiles will be kind of like the way the husband has authority over the wife. It'll be a kind of a gentle, compassionate ruling over, and that's not even really how I view complementarianism in the way he's described.
Well, he doesn't understand the scriptures. I mentioned some of the scriptures. Revelation 2, verse 25 and 26. We're going to beat the hell out of them. We're going to oppress them. Isaiah 14, 1 and 2 and 3. So he doesn't understand, all right?
that's good, accurate complementarianism. But he said some stuff like that. Then on the other side, somewhere in the middle is they're going to serve us, but it's going to be a kind service where they're going to willingly do it. And we're not going to be harsh masters. We're going to be righteous. We're not going to be like it was done in antebellum slavery to us, because we're going to be.
Yep, it's not going to be like the antebellum slavery. It's going to be worse. It's going to be worse with the T at the end.
Righteous, so it's not going to be a harsh thing. They're going to enjoy it because they're serving us. They're serving God.
Who the hell is going to enjoy going into captivity?
God by serving us. So there's sort of a middle way. On the far extreme, Mike, is it's going to be brutal. And there's one guy named Tahar who says, I'm going to kick the Edomites. That's his term for white people. I'm going to kick the Edomites ASS every day except for the Sabbath. I'm going to take a break from kicking their A and then start kicking their A again on the next day after the Sabbath. And
well, I don't know if I'll do that every day, but I'll do it quite a bit. I'll do whatever the hell I want to do. I'll do whatever. He had to. There's a guy named Tahar that says I'm a kicker. And I remember when I said that, and I did say that. I did say that more than once. I said, in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to kick your ass every day except the Sabbath. And then I went on to say, these heathens, these Edomites, they're going to honor the Sabbath even more than we do, because they'll get a break. So they'll truly worship the Sabbath. They'll be looking forward to the Sabbath. Oh, yes, the Sabbath is coming. Oh, yes, the Passover is coming. We get a break, you know? Oh, yes, the day, whatever. Oh, yes, all these high holy, they're going to be looking forward to them Sabbath days and new moons and them high holy days, because they don't get kicked in the ass on those days. So, yes, I did say that.
Sometimes they do these videos, these kinds of guys who believe in a harsh and cruel slavery for all eternity.
Yeah.
They'll do these videos where they'll get a non-Israelite, in their terminology, to bow down to them and kiss their boots or lick the bottom of their shoe, right?
I don't do that. I did that in the past. I have matured. I don't do that stuff no more. But if there was an Edomite that was willing to do that, I want to kiss your boots. I'll say I'll oblige. I say, go ahead, yeah, lick. But I'll say you got to lick the dust. Don't just kiss the top of the boot. You got to lick the top. You got to eat the gum off the bottom of my shoe, Edomite.
And in those videos, yeah, they'll sometimes make jokes about it. And they'll say, you're a good, righteous white man. You're a good, righteous Asian. I'm going to pray the Most High I get you in the kingdom. And instead of 1,000 lashes, I'm only going to give you 900. I'm not kidding, by the way. This is the kind of thing they'll say.
I've said that, but I said instead of giving you instead of giving you 39 lashes, I'll give you 38. I have said things like that. All right.
And they'll say, vocab, for example, vocab, you better hope you're one of us, because if not, we're going to be kicking your A all eternity, and we're going to pass you around. This is this.
Yes, I said that too. I admit to it. So if you got me on the stand, I would have to admit that yes, I'm guilty of that. But I'm not going to do that now. I deal with Edomites. I'm opening the door. Edomites behind me. I say, well, that's an Edomite. Let me keep the door. Let me hold the door for the Edomite and tell them to have a good day. Okay? I deal with Edomites every day. And the Edomites that I most likely deal with are pretty cool. So I ain't got no problem with them now. But when they ask me about their future, I have to tell them the truth.
This is the stuff some of these more extreme guys really say. So they refer to it as a brutal type of slavery. And I even go with that, Mike. I'll say, okay, so is your slavery going to be righteous according to the laws of the Bible? Yes, of course it is. I'll say, okay. So you're going to kick these Edomites' butts and Africans and Chinese and Japanese and Indians, the East Indians, and all these other nations. You're going to be kicking their butts for eternity, right? Yeah. What happens if you break their jaw and their tooth comes out? What are you going to do? What do you mean, what am I going to do? Well, in the Old Testament law.
Yeah, that says that, but we're going to have spiritual power. So we happen to kick their tooth out. We're going to be spiritual dentists. That's a topic for you, Pastor Rav. We're going to be spiritual dentists. So if the teeth fall out, we're going to put it right back in put it right back in his mouth, and then we're going to rewind his brain, his mind, so he doesn't even experience that. So he doesn't even know he got his tooth kicked out. If that so happens, if that happens, all right? Yes, that is part of the law. Exactly. But we're going to do everything according to the law. We're going to keep to the law. The way we deal with you, we are going to keep to the law.
Paul says if you knock out the tooth of your slave, you got to let him go. Well, I think that's just talking about fellow Israelite slave. We're not going to be letting any of our slaves go. I'm like, oh, so it's not. It's yeah. So I say, oh, so it's not.
But you can, okay, let's say we let the Edomite go. We knock your tooth out. We got the spiritual power. We refuse to put the tooth. We refuse to use our divine dentistry, and we let him go. Guess what? Another Jay Greg. What you doing? What you doing, Edomite? I'm just a free man. Oh no, you ain't. Bring your ass in there. I got to build something up. I got to dig about 1,000 holes. So you the guy. And you can't come to me because I'm like, look, I let the man go free. But you want him back? It'll cost you one troy ounce or one shekel of silver. And you can have him back and say, here's the silver, give me back. And then, beat his ass again.
Not according to the Torah. Even your slavery that you have is not according to the Torah.
Right.
You usually think about it. So I go with a presupposition, and then I'll ask them a question based upon that. So if you knock out my tooth in the kingdom, bro, you got to let me go. You know?
Just to show them that the Torah is really just a source of out of context proofs to support their theology. They're not actually trying to be consistent. They're trying to make the Bible consistent with their beliefs, which is why it starts to be all weird. So percentage wise, if you have an idea of this, is it like equally split, or as far as the sort of
this demon right here is nervous as hell. This demon is nervous as hell. He's like, oh man, what if they're right? He just doesn't care. This is a special kind of demon. This demon only comes out through fasting and prayer.
Nice version of bondage or slavery versus the middle ground versus the extreme. What's the spectrum as far as how many people in the Hebrew Israelite movement are in those camps?
I think more.
Since he's praying that he gets a nice Hebrew master, because they know they're going into captivity. They know what they did. They know they put us. What does it say in Isaiah 14? What is it, 2? It says, matter of fact, let me read that. So yes, by law, if you knock a servant's tooth out, you're supposed to let him go free. But we're gonna have spiritual power, so we could put the tooth back in, rewind his memory, and that he doesn't even remember that his tooth got knocked out. So somebody said, man, that Israelite kicked your tooth out. He said, no, he didn't. My tooth is here. No, I see him. He kicked your tooth out. He said, no, he didn't kick my tooth out. He kicked me in my ass, but he didn't kick my tooth out. And you got to have fun with this. Okay, let's go to Isaiah. The first precept that came to mind was Isaiah. And they'll tell you, well, that's talking about the Babylonians. You did to the Babylonians. No. We came up under captivity under ultimately the Persians and the Medes. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place in the house of Yasha'Allah, which are the Israelites. The two kingdoms coming together as one, shall possess them, own in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And they shall rule over their oppressors. We will oppress you. Where the hell is the video at? Wait a minute. Oh, here we go. Let's listen to a little bit more.
Probably on the kinder, gentler side. The thing is, they have a smaller voice because they're not as vocal out in the corners, and so they're not sort of the vanguard.
Yeah, because they're not prophets. They're just people that Israelites that woke up to the fact that they're Israelites. That's they get their little congregations, like ICGJC. They're just like a little congregation, a church
guard in a way, but I think they're probably a majority. But here's the thing, Mike. I'm being very charitable. Now they'll say, "Oh no, vocab's on another channel to slander us. Vocab loves to go to all these white apologists and slander us all over." That's vocab's mission in life because he's a paid Jesuit agent and he's probably a crypto Jew. And I bet this guy's Jew.
Well, that's true. We do see that. He's right. He's right. I stand accused. I stand guilty. I admit it. But I don't know. You might be. You might be. You know, an agent. You might be this. You might be that. We know you're the devil. Okay. And I told you to your face when you came out to the camp. I said, you better hope. I said, you might be one of us. But you better hope you're one of us. You better hope you're one of us. And if you're not one of us, you better hope that you're a Hamite or Ishmaelite. The one thing you don't want to be is an Edomite, like this guy. He's olive color. You can see he's an Edomite. He's olive colored.
Which two he's talking to? Just look at it. Look at the hand symbol he just made. Look at the hand symbol. Freeze frame right there, circling. That guy's letting you know he's part of it, right? Yeah. So this
what really matters. What really matters is that I'm white. That's all that really matters.
No, you're red.
Here's the thing, even the ones, I'm being charitable because even the ones who are a little nicer, like Israel of God, I've mentioned them somewhat favorably a number of times throughout this. Yeah. I was in one of their services once because they'll let me attend as a guest, and I went once. And the main guy who I've met in person was very kind to me in person. He's very warm, and I really have respect for him. It's just the theology is really off, Mike. He said, now let's go to Isaiah 14. Let's look at Isaiah 14 here, and let's read that. Let's read Isaiah 14. This is about us. Look what this says. This says, strangers will be joined to them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Verse 2 says, people shall take them.
The strangers are Israelites. They're not other nations. The strangers in Isaiah 14:1 are Israelites.
Bring the place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids.
Those are the other nations.
And they shall take them captives who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And then he stops and he says, you know, I'd really like to have some servants and handmaids, wouldn't you? Amen. Amen. And so they, even the kinder, nicer ones, think that part of the recompense of non-Israelite peoples, and it's not just white folks, people focus on white folks, but remember, they've got all kinds of other people who are other nations as well. Like I mentioned, Japanese, Chinese, Arab, all those as well are Gentiles to them. They're going to serve them as well. So their picture is they're going to be basically weighted on hand and foot for all eternity. And I had one guy, this is the last thing we'll say, Captain Desire, he said this to me after quoting this verse. He said, vocab, this is why I want Africans and white people in the kingdom. Because I'm not picking no grapes myself. And vocab, you're going to want to make my coffee and bring it to me. You know why? Because you're going to want to live and not die. And so that's sort of the extreme version, but even the nice version, Israel of God, still has this picture of being weighted on hand and foot. So really, Mike, their vision of the afterlife is just this earth.
What is the Israelite of God going to do when the servant says, I ain't doing it. I don't feel like doing it. What are you going to do? Beg him, please, Mr. Edomite. No, you're going to kick him in the fucking head.
During antebellum slavery, flipped over upside down, just permanent. And it's right because this time the right people are on top. A lot of them don't even think what was done in slavery is objectively wrong. It's just the wrong group was doing it to the wrong group. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay, that's with that. Let me say shalom. On to the next one.